Hey everyone, welcome back. Look what I have. This is the new Resin Air Zero Pro resin bubble remover. And it's got upgraded quad core motor, smart screen display, one-click operation automatic exhaust, removes 99.9% bubbles, and it fits 8 32-ounce cups, 4-liter total capacity. So let's get this baby out of here and see what it looks like. Well, before that, let's look to see. It's got an adapter. So I'll set this right here. And of course, you always get the Let's Resin tutorial hub card in everything that you get, which is good because they have some really good tutorials that you guys really should go check out if you don't have that. Sorry, that's the lid. See if I can get it out of here. It's in there tight. So that's what the new lid looks like. Set that over there. And guess what? It's purple. And this is the base. And that is all that comes in the box. So I'm going to move that down there. Make sure you guys can see everything. I have to move over just a little bit because it's I'm in my third station, so I'm trying to record awkwardly from that area. We get some scissors here. Power station, power adapter, and lucky for me, when I installed my new countertops, I have outlets all the way across the front, so we don't have to worry about finding an electrical outlet. Okay, nice long cord. All right, let's look at the manual. So this is a handle slot. This is the vacuum cover. This is the extraction port right here. This is the motor base. This is the power port right here. And this is the digital display screen, and that will display start or pause button, your time you can add or take away, your degree of vacuum, your time, and your auto timer. So that's what's all going to be able to be displayed on that screen. So the first thing we need to do is connect the power supply and turn on the machine. So the power supply plugs in right there. And I'm going to plug it in right down here. And there is the display screen. Can you see? Probably not. Let me bring it up really close. So there's the display screen. It says, please check the power supply. Do not use a power adapter not intended for this machine. And the reason they tell you that is because not all power adapters are made for certain things. And you can overload your machine motor or whatever inside here, your mechanism, and you can burn it up and then you'll ruin it. Okay, so plug in the power cord, then short press the knob to power on the machine and light up the screen. Well, it's already lit up, so I don't have any resin mixed up yet. Place the resin cup and close the lid. Do not fill the resin cup to the brim, fit only halfway. Otherwise, the resin may overflow during the vacuuming process. Now, I want to go over specs before we put resin in there. So let's skip over this part because I'll do that last. So notice, keep the cover clean and avoid leaving any residual objects in it. Keep the area around the outlet, which is right there, clean and tidy to avoid clogging the air outlet. If liquid resin overflows on the motor base, wipe and clean it thoroughly with alcohol. After use, place the machine in a clean and safe area. So here are some of the most common, frequently asked questions. They must have had to correct that one because there's a sticker over that. Okay. Is it suitable for all types of resin? Answer: it is suitable for vacuum degassing of medium and low viscosity resins such as epoxy resin, deep casting resin, liquid silicone, and other thin resins. It is not suitable for thick resin, quick drying resin, UV resin, and coating resin. If the resin becomes thick due to low temperature in cold weather, it needs to be heated to 28 to 33 degrees Celsius before use. So, I hear this question being asked a lot. Why did my tabletop resin not get all the bubbles out in my bubble remover? Well, that's why, because this bubble remover is not made for that. You need like a vacuum chamber for that. Question: how to better set parameters for different types of resin? The higher the viscosity of the resin, the longer the vacuum degassing time required. Meanwhile, the resin temperature also affects the degassing time. The lower the resin temperature, the longer the time required. It is recommended to heat the resin to 28 to 33 degrees Celsius in cold weather for better results. Can I add pigments, mica powder, or glitter to the resin and then put the resin into the machine to remove bubbles? You can add other mixtures to the resin, such as mica powder, glitter, and inlays. However, the resin volume should not exceed half of the cup, as they will undergo a chemical reaction with the resin and continuously produce a large number of bubbles, making the resin easy to overflow. So what they're saying is when you put glitter or mica powder in your resin, and this happens even in a vacuum chamber, if you fill your cup up too high, then when you start the vacuuming process, it creates more bubbles, more bubbling effect with that product in there than it does when it's not in there. So therefore, you can't put as much of your product in there with your mica or glitter than you would if you were just putting it in there clear, because you have the chance of it overflowing. Can I put the mold with cast resin directly into the resin bubble remover? Silicone molds cast with resin are not suitable for vacuum degassing because the complex shape of the mold and the silicone surface material will prevent bubbles from escaping from the resin. If there are dried flowers in the mold, it will continuously produce a large number of bubbles. We do not recommend putting the mold into the machine to remove bubbles. I've never done that in the debubbler, but I do it in my vacuum chamber all the time. So, just FYI. Why does the plastic cup have a better defoaming effect than the silicone cup? This is a good question too, because a lot of people ask this. This is because the internal friction of the silicone cup is much greater than that of a plastic cup, and it takes a longer time to remove bubbles. Something to add to that is silicone is also not a smooth surface, solid, smooth surface. Silicone has fractures in it, and so therefore it releases air. And that's no different than your silicone molds. They do the same thing. So when you put them in a bubble remover machine, they're going to release more bubbles, and it's optimally hard to get bubbles completely out of a silicone cup. Whereas plastic is solid, and so therefore there's no bubbles. Hope that helps. Why can't my machine remove the resin? Well, this goes back to is it suitable for all types of resin? Please check if the AB resin is mixed well by volume ratio instead of weight. Check the validity period of the resin to ensure the resin is in good condition. If the machine still does not work, please feel free to contact us. Why are there more bubbles in the resin after the machine starts working? As the negative pressure inside the machine increases, the tiny invisible bubbles in the resin gather and rise due to the pressure difference, resulting in a visual increase in the number of bubbles. As the machine continues to work, these bubbles expand to the limit and then burst, leading to fewer bubbles and purer resin. So basically what happens in a debubbler is when the pressure starts to build inside, because basically what this is doing is building pressure and vacuuming, and so it starts at the bottom and that pressure builds and builds and builds and builds, and as it builds it pushes all those bubbles up until they're gone. And so then when the chamber reaches its maximum pressure, then it has pushed all the air out of there, and so now the only place the bubbles have to go is pop. So hopefully that explains that better. How many minutes do I need to completely remove the bubbles? It depends on the volume and viscosity of the mixed resin, the local indoor temperature, altitude, and other factors. Generally, for 100 ml of low viscosity resin, it takes 4 to 6 minutes to completely remove bubbles. Why are there still bubbles on the surface after using the defoaming machine? The resin must be fully mixed before putting it in the machine. Incomplete mixing of the resin will produce many bubbles. The use of quick drying resin may cause bubbles on the surface, so we recommend switching to slow drying epoxy resin. If there are still some tiny bubbles on the top of the resin, you can spray alcohol, use a heat gun, a hot air gun, or let it stand for a few minutes to remove the bubbles. When the indoor temperature is lower than 15 degrees Celsius, it is recommended to soak the measuring cup in hot water to heat it before putting it in the machine for better bubble removal. Last one. The transparent lid cannot be opened after the machine finishes working. That's a question. A, for the answer, check whether the device is in forced power off state. Air exhaust is only available when the machine is powered on and running. Reconnect the power supply and set a 1-minute operation countdown. The machine will perform automatic air exhaust upon countdown completion. During daily operation, avoid resin contamination on the edge of the machine base. Carry out necessary cleaning and maintenance after operation. So basically what that means is after you use the machine, make sure you wipe this down. There is a rubber gasket right here, but you probably don't want to remove that. You can, I assume, if you wanted to, but I wouldn't. I would just make sure to wipe this down. And then this here comes out, so you can wipe that down. I'd wipe this down if you need to. Put that back on there, and then I would wipe the inside and outside of your lid to keep it clean. And this didn't come with plastic on it, so I would be careful with that to make sure it doesn't get anything on it. I use microfiber cloths on everything, so I'm going to wipe this down because it has dust all over it from being in the box. But I'm going to wipe it down with alcohol because I am getting a static. So I'm going to break that surface tension. And then we're going to mix up some resin. Whoop. So that we don't have static. Okay, so there's that. I got all the dust off of it. All right, let me mix up some resin and I'll be right back. Hey y'all. Well, I was going to mix it up with the mixer, my Let's Resin mixer, but my battery died. So now we're going to mix it up by hand. So go ahead and just start stirring this up. And I'll try to get some bubbles mixed in there, you know, so we can see how this works. Just lay this over here, move this over, and I am using the Let's Resin casting resin. And I mixed up 5 ounces. So we're gonna stick that down. Let me bring this back here. And there's no valve to close because it's inside there. So now we're gonna click this on. And I just left it at the 5 minutes because it's automatically set to 5 minutes. And I'm going to bring you guys down so you can watch this, hopefully. It's very quiet. Let me turn this around so you guys can see the screen. 2. So it's at 88.5, almost up to the highest pressure, which is 99.9. There it is. So for 3 minutes and 30 seconds, we're going to watch this, but look. Remember when it said that there would be a ton of bubbles in there? Well, it is pressurizing those bubbles. Pushing them all to the top. Pretty soon you'll see the bottom part get clear, and we still have 254. I did 5 ounces, so it's an 8-ounce cup. You can pretty much tell when your bubbles start to move that it's not going to overflow. Look at that. They're already dispersing, and we're still at 217. It's just pulling up those smaller bubbles from the bottom still, pushing them up to the top. Got 30 seconds. Automatic release of air, so you don't have to pull any plugs or anything. It just automatically releases that air. Isn't that nice? There's a few bubbles still left on the top, but other than that, that's pretty crystal clear. And they said you could just spritz to get rid of them, and boom. Pretty clear. That's pretty good. Pretty good. So let's test these cups while I have you in my hand. Okay, so these are 8-ounce cups. Let's see how many of those can fit in there. Let's see if 4 will fit. I don't think they will, but we'll try it. I mean, and it would be tight. Nope, 4 are not going to fit. Okay, sorry, I can't do that and this at the same time. So let's try 3 8-ounce cups. It will fit 3 8-ounce cups. So make a note of that. And obviously it will only do 1 32-ounce cup. And then I have 1,000 mLs. I don't know if it'll hold that or not. Oh, it does. So I have because see, this one's 850 mLs and I have 1,000 mLs. So it'll fit that too. So that's good. And then I have these 500 mLs. I don't think 2 will fit, just 1. So we know that's going to fit. So that'll work. And I really don't have any other size cups than that. Other than really, really itty bitty ones. And we know you don't usually put those in there. So those are your cup sizes. So it'll hold quite a few different sizes, up to 32 ounces. So basically, if you wanted to change your dial is pretty self-explanatory. If you want to add time, you turn your dial this way. So there's your 5. If you want to add, it goes in 30-second increments. So 30. And then if you want to decrease, you turn it the opposite direction, counterclockwise, like that. And then, let me get the book. I can't remember. Hold on. Okay. So the default time is 5 minutes, and the maximum adjustable time is 15. And you can increase or decrease the time at any time while the machine is running. Generally 100 to 200 ml of thin resin, approximately 5 to 10 minutes. I'm gonna have to get that resin poured. I was trying to see, set the time. So if you need to emergency vent, if bubbles rise too fast and may overflow, short press the knob to release air or long press to stop it. And then you can restart after the bubbles subside. To power it off, you long press the knob to shut down and then auto power off after 10 minutes of inactivity. So those were the things that I was wanting to tell you. So, all right, guys, that is it. This, I think, is going to be a good tool for everyone. Let's Resin has definitely outdone themselves once again on their resin tools. I appreciate Let's Resin for sending this to me. So everyone, this is going to be available on July 19th or 20th, I think they said. So everyone keep an eye out. I don't have a link for this yet. Once they get me a link, I will put that in my description box for you all. So then you can purchase that and get use my discount code and get yourself one. And it's purple. Yay! So yeah. So everyone, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this new tool. I think it's great. Way easier to use, less complicated, very simple. instructions, and yeah. So, all right, everyone. Have a great day. Let me know what you think of this new tool, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, y'all.